Hey guys, it's Bella and welcome back to another episode of Mystery Mondays, or technically Mystery Tuesdays, because I'm uploading this one a day late. I've already filmed it and everything, but when I went to edit it, I didn't even realize that the audio was just complete trash. I just got a new mic. I didn't really know how to work it. I don't even think that it was plugged in properly, so you just couldn't hear me basically. It was like speaking like a mouse, so I just decided to re-record it and upload it a day later because quality over quantity. So for today's episode of Mystery Tuesdays, we're going to be talking about the disappearance of Amy Lynn Bradley. So Amy, who was 23 at the time of her disappearance, was on a holiday with her family. She was on a cruise. Amy, her mother, her father, and her younger brother were on a Royal Caribbean cruise together called Rhapsody of the Seas, and it was on its way to Curacao in Antilles. I'm not even sure if I pronounce Curacao right, or Antilles for that matter. I try. Every single time I have to pronounce names of places in these videos, I always get it wrong. I promise I try. I even do this, but for some reason I still can't pronounce it, and people are like, you pronounced it wrong, and I'm like, I try. So anyway, Amy was actually reluctant to go on this cruise with her parents because, I mean, she was a really strong swimmer, and she was actually a trained lifeguard, but she was terrified of the ocean, so she didn't want to go on the cruise initially, but her parents convinced her, her family convinced her. They went on a family holiday together on this cruise, and apparently, Amy ended up having a really great time. On March 23rd, 1998, Amy, alongside her family, decided to go to a dinner party which was on the cruise. It was on the upper deck, and Amy and her brother Brad ended up staying and partying and dancing the night away until about 3:30 in the morning. So that led into the 24th of March, 3:30 a.m. 24th of March is when they stopped partying, and then at 5:30 a.m. on the 24th of March, Amy woke up on the balcony of her suite. She didn't even remember falling asleep there, but she woke up and decided to go for a cigarette. Unfortunately, that was the last time Amy was ever seen, and shortly after, the ship ended up docking in Curacao. So because Amy was just going for a cigarette, she didn't even bring shoes with her, she didn't bring any of her belongings, so her parents thought that she would be quick, and because she was not, they quickly noticed that she didn't come back and grew worried. They went to the ship and asked them if they could make an announcement over the speakers for her, but the ship refused because it was too early in the morning and they didn't want to disturb the other passengers. The family also asked the ship if they could not dock the boat, or if they could move away from the dock in case Amy was kidnapped, and for obvious reasons, if the ship did dock and the kidnapper managed to get on land with Amy, it would make it a lot easier to disappear with her. But once again, the ship refused to do this. They did end up making an announcement, but it wasn't until 8 a.m. when most of the passengers had already disembarked. So after the announcement was made at 8 a.m. and Amy still did not return, the captain of the ship decided to order a search for her. So they were meant to search the entire ship, all 1,000 rooms. There was 999 rooms on this cruise. They were meant to search all of them, search the bathrooms, search the common areas, which seemed great, but later when investigations start, they realized that they did not search any of the rooms at all. They only searched the restrooms. There was 10 restrooms. They only searched the restrooms and the common places. The captain also decided not to tell any of the other passengers just because he didn't want to raise alarm or worry anybody or scare anybody. And the ship was extremely uncooperative. They were very difficult. They were not good in their searches, and they didn't work well with Amy's family or the FBI. And the FBI were the ones who were investigating into the case, so they were the ones who talked to the ship, looked into the case, and they spoke to several different witnesses as well. Crystal Roberts was one of these witnesses. She said that she had seen Amy at the party and that she was hanging out and getting close with a man named Alistair Douglas, who was a bass player for the band Blue Orchid, who was playing at the dinner party that night. Crystal also said that shortly after Amy left her room for her cigarette, that she saw Amy and Alistair together. Other witnesses also came forward and said that they'd seen Amy and Alistair getting close at the party. They were slow dancing, holding hands, and just getting really close, getting to know each other, and hanging out. From witness statements, it was gathered that when Amy went to go and have her cigarette, she did end up meeting up with Alistair. They went to the other side of the boat, or another location on the boat from where they met up, and 10 minutes later Alistair came back to where they met up, but he was alone and Amy was nowhere to be seen. Amy's brother Brad said that Alistair came up to him and said that he was sorry about the disappearance of his sister and that he hoped that they find her and all of that jazz. But the weird thing about this is that when Alistair came up to him, nobody but immediate family and close friends knew of the fact that she was missing. So despite the fact that this guy is really suspicious, the FBI never considered him a suspect and didn't look into him any further due to insufficient evidence. Where I understand that there's not a lot of evidence, it's kind of just hearsay, but I definitely feel like they should have looked into him a bit more and at least considered him a suspect, considering how did he know that Amy had disappeared and the fact that he seems to have been the last one to see her. So other weird things happened around the time of Amy's disappearance. The first one is the parents said that the night of the dinner party, all of these random people came onto the boat and they were kind of just standing on the railings around the dinner party, like watching in, getting a night of free entertainment, although they were not paying members, like they weren't paying to be on the cruise. They were just like these random people just hanging out, getting some free entertainment, which the family thought was a little bit weird. Apparently these people were just kind of like observing everything that was going on. And according to the family, three of the waiters were acting really strangely around Amy in the days leading up to her disappearance. They were flirting with her, calling her name. They even invited her to go to shore with them. Amy actually mentioned to her family that she was a little bit creeped out by one of the waiters, but that's all of the information on the waiters as well. So I don't know, as I was looking into this and I was trying to find more out on these people that seemed suspicious, I was like, why didn't you look into them more? Like, why is there not more information on the waiters, or why is there not more information on Alistair Douglas? So that is all of the information regarding her disappearance, what happened leading up to her disappearance, people that were around her disappearance. But this is where it gets weird. So after Amy had already disappeared, there were several sightings of her in the Caribbean. In 1998, which is the year that she disappeared, if I forgot to mention that, there were 2 Canadian tourists who said that they saw Amy on a beach in Curacao. The tourist said that the woman looked identical to Amy and had identical tattoos to Amy, and when they saw her and Amy noticed that they saw her, she started hurrying towards them, which is when she was grabbed by 2 men and whisked away into a cafe. In 1999, a naval officer says that he saw Amy in a brothel in the Caribbean. In 1999, a naval officer said that he saw Amy in a Caribbean brothel. He said it looked just like Amy. Once again, that she had the same tattoos as Amy, and again that he tried to talk to her, which matches up with the first story where she tried to hurry towards these people. So with the naval officer, she said, "My name is Amy Bradley, please tell them my name and save me, get someone to come save me." She said she wasn't allowed to leave, but she needed him to go and tell people that her name was Amy Bradley and that she needed to be saved. And after she said this, she was grabbed by a man and taken away once again. In 2005, Amy was apparently seen at a department store in Barbados as well. So they were in the bathroom at the time that she was apparently spotted, or allegedly spotted, and the woman was in the bathroom stall next to what she thinks was Amy. So at first, while she was in the bathroom stall, she heard in the stall next to her a man yelling at a woman. And then when she came out of the bathroom stall, she saw the woman leaned over, like hunching over the sinks. She looked really worried. She looked frightened. She looked like she was in her 30s. And she had the same tattoos as Amy apparently, and even said that her name was Amy. Amy's parents also received an email with a photo of Amy. It looks like her, and even her parents are convinced that this photo is her. So the photo they received is Amy posing very sexually suggestively, and her parents, the people that know her the best, the people that lived with her, grew up with her for 23 years, they know what she looks like. They are convinced that this is her and that Amy is still alive. And I mean, I feel like if her parents had a photo that they would be the ones who are able to identify her, so I kind of trust their judgment and do believe that this may have been a photo of Amy. Her parents actually believe that she was sold into sex slavery or sex trafficking, which is why she was posing so sexually suggestively in this photo, which brings us to our first theory, which is that Amy was sold into sex slavery. For obvious reasons, this is the main theory and this is the most widely believed theory. This would account for the many sightings of her, which all of these sightings, might I add, are very, very similar. They have the same story. They have the same, like, seen her tattoos, had them tell her she was Amy, looked like Amy, grabbed away by a man. They're all very similar. And the fact that this guy saw her in a brothel definitely suggests that she was sold into sex slavery. A body was never found as well, so it's obviously possible that she was alive. They also said that it's pretty much impossible that she fell off the boat with no one noticing, so that is kind of out of the equation, and there's no body. Like, it's very, very likely that she is still alive, especially considering it's a cruise ship. Like, if someone did kill her, how could they just drag a dead body off a cruise ship with nobody seeing it? Like, it's very... Personally, this is the theory that I believe. I definitely think it could have had something to do with either these three creepy waiters or this creepy bass player, Alistair Douglas. I have no idea which one of them I think it is, but I definitely think one of them had something to do with it. I also forgot to mention earlier in this video when I was mentioning the evidence, but at the dinner party there was a photographer taking photos. He took many photos of Amy, and at the end of the night he stuck them all on this board. So Amy and her mother went to go and see the photos when they realized all of the ones of Amy had been taken. So they went and spoke to the photographer, the guy in charge, and they were like, hey, I'm not sure what's happened. I'm sure there was photos of me, but none of them are on the board. And he was like, confirmed. He was like, yeah, I definitely remember taking photos of you and hanging photos of you on the board, but not to worry, I will just go and redevelop them for you. So that's something to think about as well. Maybe the person, Alistair, or these three waiters, or maybe the people that came on the boat who no one knew who they were. They kept an eye on her and thought that she would be the best candidate. They took the photos of her and were studying her. I have no idea, but this theory is just... how can you not believe this one? Like, I 100% think this is what happened. So the second theory, and this one I don't believe, I wasn't even going to mention it, but then I decided why not. The second theory is that she drowned or she fell overboard, and this theory doesn't make sense for a couple of reasons. First, they said it was pretty unlikely that she fell overboard, and if she did, it's unlikely that no one saw it. On top of that, as I said, she was a trained lifeguard, a very strong swimmer, and they were close to docking in Carousel, so I definitely said that wrong that time. But it's just very unlikely that she first fell overboard and second drowned. The last theory is that Amy left herself, and this theory also doesn't really make any sense. First of all, she didn't take any of her belongings. She didn't even have shoes on her when she left, so it just makes no sense whatsoever that she wouldn't bring anything with her, wouldn't wear any shoes. She just went out barefoot, nothing but a pack of cigarettes and a lighter, which is extremely strange for someone who is leaving their life behind. And on top of that, before she went on the cruise, just before, she had bought a bulldog puppy, which doesn't seem like something you do if you were planning on leaving your life behind, and her parents had to even convince her to come on the cruise in the first place. So it just didn't really seem like she had any plans to leave, any reason to leave, or that she even wanted to. So yeah, I definitely don't believe that, but that is all of the theories. So let me know what you think. I would love for you to comment down below any theories that you have. I would also love for you to let me know what cases you would like me to do in future Mystery Mondays. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed and want more Mystery Mondays, and hopefully I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!